So today guys, we're going to show you how to restore the colour on these Ugg boots. Obviously preparation is key to what you're doing to begin with. So obviously if you check our other video, see the link below, we have obviously cleaned them thoroughly, first of all with the Suede and Nubuck leather cleaner. And then when they were dry, we then prepared the surface to ensure all grease and grime was removed by using the LRC alcohol cleaner. Once that's done, obviously, and they're fully dry, we can then proceed to start to do the dye work on these Ugg boots. So let's have a look at what we've done here. This one, we've obviously masked everything up, and as you can clearly see, we've dyed this back panel already. You can see how faded these boots are, and we've dyed this back panel. So we're going to carry on dyeing this boot here, and you're going to see exactly how that's done using the Suede and Nubuck dye from LRC, which is LRC 62. So let's get some of this put into our little pot. You can either use the wool Dauber, which is this thing here, or you can use a sponge, which we've got here. So let's just pour some of this into the pot. Obviously with this being a dye, you want to put gloves on, which I'm just going to do in a second. But let's just get some of this poured in. There we go. So that's got the dye in there. If you need to make the dye stronger for the Suede and Nubuck products, if you want a much stronger product, you can add the LRC shoe dye into there in small amounts until you've got the sort of desired density that you require. It just depends what you're trying to do. Obviously, if you're trying to change the colour, then you need to make it a lot stronger than what it is, and you can just add that shoe dye in there to make it a lot stronger if you wanted to. So let's have a look. So we've prepped them all over with the alcohol, cleaned them obviously, prepped them over with the alcohol. Before we proceed with it, we're just going to move the dye out the way for just a second, and we need to make sure that the shoes are fully brushed up. So we're using the Suede and Nubuck brush, which has got like a plastic outer, and then it's got the brass inside. So we're just going to rub over these, and this is key to the restoration process. As you're applying the colour, you need to keep doing that to the surface to ensure that all the fibres are staying nice and soft and fluffy and things like that. So that's exactly key to what you've got to do, is you've got to make sure that this is prepped properly. Once you've prepared the surface, you've cleaned it, you've used the alcohol cleaner to remove dirt, you know, the balance of the sort of grease and grime. But you can sort of see the difference there in fading here. Look where it's sort of faded and it's nice and darker here, and this is all fading here. They're what they call like a double finish hide sort of thing, because obviously you've got suede on the exterior and then you've got hair on hide on the interior here, which is obviously what Ugg Boots is about, to keep you nice and warm. So just make sure that this is brushed over. And this here, where we've already dyed it, you would always make sure that that is brushed up as well. So that keeps that nice and fluffy and super soft. And obviously once you've dyed them, you can then proceed to obviously waterproof them with a waterproofer, you know, in the normal sort of way. So let's have a look at what we're going to do with the wool Dauber. So that's your Dauber, and we're going to get that soaked in there. You don't want it to be absolutely dripping with dye. Wring most of the dye out, and then we're just going to proceed to go over here and dye that, as you can clearly see, like so. I'm just going to make sure that that's done in nice sort of even streaking lines. Bring it out again. We will do the whole shoe for you so you can see this. Key to this is to get it on as evenly as you can, making sure that it's thoroughly on there. But you can see instantly how that has dyed that. It's already pretty remarkable compared to the rest. Look, it's quite staggering. So let's proceed to do the next side. Once we've got the next side done, we're probably going to give it a brush up just to brush the fibres in, because you've got to make sure with the dye when you're putting it on that you're getting it deep into the bottom of the suede itself to ensure that it's dyed properly. You can't rush something like this. It's a slow process, and you've got to make sure that you get the dye deep in to the fibres. You've got to get it to the bottom of the suede to ensure that it's perfect. So what we're going to do now quickly is just brush those two up, and then as they're drying naturally, you're going to keep coming back and brushing them up. Purpose of this is to make sure that you get it all deeply penetrated into the bottom of the fibres of the suede, and that way it keeps the fibres as soft as you can get them, to be fair. They probably feel just very slightly different compared to brand new, obviously because you've done a renovation to them, and as you start to use them, they'll then start to feel exactly like they did originally. So get into all of these areas with the dye, make sure it's getting into all the seams properly, is what we do first of all. Get into all those seams. Nice even strokes is what you want. You don't want to go like leaving patches and stuff like that on there, because that's never ever very good, because you're going to end up with darker patches. Nice even strokes with applying the dye, and make sure you do it in even strokes and getting that evened out as you're going, look, like we are here. You want to make sure it's evened out. You don't want to leave like dark patches on there, because you will notice that if you're not careful. So again, wring it out, get that dye on there. So where you can sort of see where we've applied that there, and you can sort of see these dark lines here, you don't want to leave those like you can see here. That's a top tip, do not leave that. So you've got to make sure that they are very evened out, so like we're doing here. So we're going to keep going over the surface to make sure that that evens those lines out completely, because you don't want any of those. Doesn't matter what direction you go, by the way. You just don't want to leave those darker lines on there, because that will notice and sort of shine through almost in effect that you've got those dark lines on there. So come down the actual seam itself to make sure you've got that nicely dyed, and then we can give that a brush up again to make sure that that's nice and soft. Doesn't matter what direction you go in, any direction. The purpose of this is to ensure that the fibres are getting deep into the outer suede here, to ensure that the penetration of the dye is perfect and it's dyed through completely. But it's quite a remarkable thing when you start looking at that, of what the difference is there, you know, compared to what it was to what it is now. It is quite a remarkable thing, you know, with the dye that we've used. You know, just look at the difference on there. It's quite remarkable, really, when you look at it. It's absolutely quite amazing what it's done. You know, it's just look at this. Looks fantastic already, doesn't it? So it's coming out really well. So let's proceed to carry on dyeing the front of the toe area, which we've obviously already brushed up. You can use the sponge if you wanted to. Personally, I prefer to use the wool daubers. They do a much better job. It's easier to control, and you're doing much smaller areas at a time. So again, down the seam areas, getting that right into the seam, right around the toe area here. Keep turning your wool dauber around to refresh where the majority of the dye is held. We're going to have to reload that again now. Just going to take my other glove off, because it's actually easier, because the glove on my hand that's going in the boot is creating like a sort of like a suction, and it's hard to get my hand out of the boot when I'm trying to do things. So I'm just taking that out so it's easy, and it just slips off much better that way. It's just making it sort of grab as I'm trying to pull my hand out of the boot, which I don't want it to do, because it's just lengthening in the process of what we're trying to achieve here. You know, we're dyeing these boots. So again, make sure you get this nice and even. Any areas that you think you've missed, you can just go back over. Really nice and even strokes with the dye to make sure it penetrates fully. But these Ugg boots are going to look absolutely fantastic when they're done. They're going to be absolutely awesome indeed. And that is how you would dye a pair of Ugg boots. It's quick and as easy as that. I mean, they're not cheap, and that has just made your Ugg boots look absolutely brand new again. Once you've obviously got them done and they're fully dried, I would suggest leaving them for maybe a good, don't force them to dry, but a good maybe 48 hours to, sometimes it can take longer, because obviously the dye is soaking right into the fibres of the suede. Again, make sure this is evened out. You don't want anything patchy on there, and then we're going to rub that through again with the brush. So let's just move the dye out the way, and let's just give that a final rub over with the suede brush to fluff up the fibres to make sure that the dye has penetrated fully into the surface, and then we can just leave that to naturally dry, and we've got ourselves a nice brand new pair of Ugg boots. And I'm just going to show you the difference between this one and the one that we've obviously not dyed, but it's just looking absolutely remarkable. But again, key to this is brushing this as you're working this in, as you're working over the surface, as the boots are drying. You must keep brushing up the fibres. It is very, very important when you're dyeing suede or nubuck to keep on brushing up these fibres, because it keeps them nice and soft and supple. So as it's drying, just go around and just keep brushing the fibres up in all different directions. That way you ensure you get a really nice, good finish on the surface that looks absolutely fantastic. But that is exactly how you would dye your Ugg boots, and just look at the difference. It's quite staggering, isn't it? That is actually quite remarkable how they look. But it's a very simple, very easy process to do, as you can clearly see. But that is quite remarkable, the difference of how they look. It's amazing. Let's look at that. Nice brand new pair of Ugg boots, quick and easy to do, using the LRC Suede and Nubuck Dye LRC 62. Any details you need to know, head on over to the website. The cleaning and preparation video, there's a link in this video's text. Check it out. There's also links to the products, to the wool daubers, the brushes. There's links to everything you can buy on our website so that you can dye your suede and nubuck Ugg boots. leatherrepaircompany.com. Thank you very much, guys.